This is the plaintiff, Rachel Eckert. She says the defendant was the landlord from you-know-where. She had all sorts of problems with him, lost her job because of him, and is suing the louse here and now for the $5,000 he's cost her. That's right. You mess with her, she's going to do what she needs to do to get her money back. And if that means taking him to court, then so be it. This is the defendant, Michael Hurley. He says the plaintiff was always getting into tussles with the neighbors. He had her arrested for stealing and she stopped paying the rent. This is simply a case of a tenant trying to milk the system. He's learned a great lesson about being a landlord and thinks the judge is going to side with him on this one when she hears all the evidence. He's accused of lousy landlording. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,650 for unpaid rent and lawyer's fees.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated and come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay. Rachel Eckert?
Yes.
You are suing your former landlord, Michael Hurley?
Yeah, that's correct.
For $5,000 that you say he owes you from your security deposit, pain and suffering, exterminator costs, podiatry costs. I can't wait. You have a counterclaim against her for $2,650 for 3 months' rent and lawyer's fees to get her evicted. All right. What's going on?
Okay. I had moved into Mr. Hurley's apartment in October of 2013 on the 25th. Prior to moving in, when I was moving my stuff in, I had fell down the stairs in the front hallway. I had to go to the emergency room, and I had a fractured bone in the top of my foot, and I had to go see a podiatrist for it.
Okay.
To this day, I still get edema in my foot. I've been treated for it.
How's that his fault?
Because there was a light in the hallway, but it didn't always work because there was a short in it.
Did it work when you fell?
No, it wasn't on.
Okay. You lived there for how many months after that?
For about a year and 2 months.
Okay, because it's a little suspicious that you'd complain about it now.
Well, I said something to him about it at first, but when I had first moved in, I was worried that if I told him I was going to go after his homeowner's insurance, that he was going to put me right out, and I couldn't be put out when I had just moved into an apartment.
Okay. Do you have any proof that the light wasn't working?
No,
because you could fall because you were clumsy, or you could fall because the landlord did something. And when you're suing for it, you got to prove it's the landlord did something.
Yeah.
All right, so go on.
In July, the people upstairs had got a dog, and they never cleaned up after it. It went basically to the bathroom in the back driveway. And every time I would go outside to take my garbage out, I would either step in it or my car was back there, so I was always stepping in it.
Did you ever complain to him?
Yes, and I have text messages.
Okay, can I see the text messages? Did you not get along with those folks?
There was a few problems that we had with the driveway because we both were kind of trying to park in there, and it wasn't working out very well.
Okay. Who has a right to park back there? Whoever gets there first?
I was nice, and I let them park both their cars that was unregistered and uninsured back there at the time.
Oh, so it's not cars they're using every day?
Usually I wouldn't let them. I was nice and let them get it off the street, and it backfired on me.
Yeah.
Because they started fighting it.
Was your car unregistered?
Yes, it did get unregistered at one point in time.
And was the other tenant's car unregistered?
Correct. And I do have notice from the code inspector that the cars were unregistered.
Yours too? You called your code inspector on yourself?
I didn't call him. He came out for other reasons. He came out for the unsanitary conditions.
Did you have to pay a fine for that?
No.
She definitely called the code inspector. She called everybody she can think of on me.
When did she do that?
It didn't start until after I told her she couldn't get a dog, and ever since then everything went sour, and so there was a leak on the roof, and I came and fixed the leak on the roof and asked her to move her car because the city inspector was asking me to move them because they were both unregistered. She refused to move her car, and I told her I'd have to give her 30-day notice and get the car towed if she didn't move it. That's when she called the cops and said I was harassing her and I had to leave my own house because she wanted to get me arrested.
So let's back up a second. When and why did you tell her she had to go?
Because she refused to move her car and I was going to get fined for it.
But what made you, at what tipped you off to that you were going to get fined for it?
I got a letter from the city inspector.
Okay, so she's already mad when she calls the city on you.
Yeah.
All right, so back up a little more and tell me why she's calling the city on you.
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with me not letting her to get a dog.
Okay. All right, so you're suing for your... When did you end up leaving?
I left December 15th.
Okay, and you left December 15th because you were evicted.
I agreed in landlord court that I didn't want to stay there.
And you were in landlord court on what kind of lawsuit?
It wasn't a lawsuit. He sent me a 30-day notice in September while I was still current with my rent. He just didn't want me staying there because
Did you have a lease?
It was a month-to-month.
Right, so he can do that. Go on.
Correct. But I had filed complaints with the health department because there was sewage.
When was your
backed up.
first... When did you file the 30-day notice?
I think it was around September 19th, and I just asked her to leave.
Do you have the notice?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Was it September 19th?
It could have been September 19th.
Okay, let me see the notice. When did you file the first complaint?
In August.
Prove that. While she's looking for that, you filed a 30-day notice on September 17th telling her she has till October 31st, so you were giving her more than 30 days. And when you do that, does she get out on October 31st?
No, that's the first date. The first time I got a text message about the sewage was on October 31st, the date she was supposed to leave.
She claims that she had brought problems to your attention prior to that.
The only thing I heard about was the feces.
Yes. What she did was she filed a complaint with the Erie County Department of Health Rabies Disease and Vector Control Program inspection form. Notice issued to both upper and lower occupants. And then probably this is the day that they also fined you both for or cited you both for the cars?
No, it was a different day.
Oh.
I have the notice.
So basically the upstairs tenant got a warning and you got a warning too?
Yes.
Interesting. Tell me when your first complaint about the landlord and not the actions of the tenants happens. The answer is then it's after he tells you you have to go.
Correct.
That's when you say, I broke my foot, he owes me money. That's when you say, I have pain and suffering. That's when you say, ooh, $1,200 for lost wages. What's that about?
Because when the plumbing problem started, he refused.
What plumbing problems?
There was raw sewage that was coming up through the bathtub and the toilet, and I have pictures and I have documentation from the health department.
When did that all happen?
That happened in October.
After you've already been asked to leave?
Correct.
Why would you want to stay in a place that's like that?
I was in the process of looking for somewhere else to move, but I was also about 7 months pregnant. So when I was looking for apartments, it was kind of hard because a lot of people were asking me, well, what are you going to do when you have the baby? And just nobody really called me back.
Okay. Show me the pictures of the raw sewage and talk to me about the raw sewage. Tell me what's going on.
I have them in my phone and only 2 of them that were printed out. This was
Okay,
from
I'll
the
see the ones on your
bathtub.
phone. Get them up on your phone. What is this a picture of?
That's the bathtub.
How does this water have all that sewage in it? What are you saying is happening there?
It backed up.
It backed up to that extent?
Yes.
All the way up like that?
Yes, ma'am. When we would flush the toilet, it wouldn't flush, so we tried plumbing it, and then it would start coming up through the bathtub.
Who's we?
Me and my sister.
And what do you say about this? What's your response?
My response was that it didn't happen until after she was supposed to be out the house.
Okay, and then what did you do to fix it, though?
I couldn't fix it while she was in there because I couldn't be around her. My lawyer told me to stay away from her after she tried to
That
call
doesn't
the
mean
cops.
your lawyer can't tell you that all of a sudden you don't have obligations as a landlord. That's crazy. You still have to do what you're supposed to do.
I just didn't have the money, man.
I get it.
Your Honor.
So what do you think she sabotaged this? Because that's what you said in your complaint.
I think she put something down the drain. I can't
But you don't know
prove
that.
it.
All right, and what are these pictures of bed bugs?
Yes,
How are the bed bugs his fault?
because I told him about it. He refused to eradicate them.
Did he bring bed
told
bugs
me-
into your house?
He didn't bring them in there.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I know, I can't say that I brought them in there. I can't say that anybody else brought them in there. I don't know how they got there.
Right,
I
because
did
that's the problem with bed bugs is that you don't know how they got there. He doesn't know how they got there. I don't know how they got there. Only the bed bugs know how they got there. And the bed bugs ain't talking. So, but you want him to pay $850 for 2 beds?
I had to throw them out.
Yeah, you actually brought them to your new apartment before you threw them out, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. You're suing for a couch and 2 beds. What's the couch for? Same reason?
I had to throw the couch out. I left it at the old house. I didn't bring it with me.
Did you throw it
because
out or did you leave it for him to throw out?
I couldn't lift it up. I was like 7 months pregnant.
No,
at that
I
time.
know. You got yourself pregnant. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean somebody else has to move your stuff around.
I
It means that
didn't-
you have trouble.
I was gonna
Okay, so
get it
now
out.
I have a question for you. Listen to me, because this is the last thing I need to go over, and then I need to give the floor to him. I want to understand the lost wages.
The lost wages was because when the sewage happened, I wasn't able to shower at all, so I called off for 2 days in a row
Why would you call off from work? Why don't you just go to a friend's house and take a shower?
because everybody knew about the bed bugs, and honestly, nobody really wanted me over there. So I was kind of like in a catch-22.
So someone should pay you $1,200 because you didn't pay $39 for a motel.
Well,
All right, let me hear from you. What's going on here? She's mad because of the dog.
First, that's when I first started. Next thing you know, she went from calling the inspector on me to calling CPS on the people upstairs.
Did you call CPS on the? Did you call Child Protective Services on
I
the people
called
upstairs?
Child Protection Services because they were smoking weed upstairs. That's
But
the only
when was the
reason
first time
why
you called,
I called.
Child Protection Services?
To be honest, I can't tell you when it was.
It was after the dog poop, right? You didn't
It may
call
have
them.
been.
Say it again.
It may have been, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I know there's more to the story too. She got me in trouble for shared metering, which is with the electric company.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And I ended up getting
You
fined.
should get in trouble for that.
I got fined like $1,000 because
How much?
$1,000 fine.
Wow. Show me the proof that you got fined $1,000. Tell me the real story behind the $1,000 fine.
Well, you're supposed to have. I guess you're supposed to have the lights in the hallway on a third meter.
Right.
But I didn't know that. This is my first house. I only been a landlord for a year.
Okay.
So I don't know all these laws. I'm just telling you, everybody she called, she's just trying to do whatever she
Yeah,
can.
that's
to
the
get me in
beauty of
trouble.
home ownership.
Not to mention, she did get arrested for taking the basement door off.
The
of my
what?
house.
What?
She broke in my basement because I locked her out the basement because she unplugged the upstairs tenant's refrigerator that was down
Oh,
there.
you have got to be kidding me.
Cost them
How do
$100.
you unplug how do you, from the basement, unplug the refrigerator?
The refrigerator.
You mean
was
the
in-
breaker?
No, the refrigerator was in the basement because it was too big to go upstairs. But it was on their plug, and somehow it got unplugged. She said she didn't do it. So I did what I had to do, and I locked her out of the basement so she couldn't do it again.
You locked everybody out of the basement, or you gave the keys to the top?
I gave a key to the
Does she
guy
have any
upstairs.
reason to be in the basement?
Just the flip breakers that she pops on and off. I mean, this girl lived in my house for a year, and the only complaints I did get from neighbors was traffic going in and out the house all hours of the night, going downstairs, going to her house.
So you lock the basement door and someone breaks in? Or
She took the door off the hinges and hid the door inside the apartment, and I had to come and call.
Did you find the door in the apartment?
The cops found the door in the apartment and arrested her.
Did the cops
for it.
find the door in the apartment?
Yes, they did. And I
Did you take the door off the
Yes.
hinges?
Yes, I did.
Well, maybe you could pick up your own sofa then. Then it's not, oh, I'm so pregnant, I can't do it. Are you serious?
I had help bringing the door in. And
What?
The
You
reason,
didn't get help taking the
the
sofa out?
reason I took the door off the hinges is that's when the sewage problem was. And after he refused to fix it on 3 or 4 separate occasions.
Do you have proof that you notified? Hold on one second.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, who generally causes bed bugs? Landlords or tenants?
I would say the tenant, because the property inside the apartment is most likely the tenant's, the bed, the couch, things like that. So I would guess that it's the tenant's responsibility.
Pretty compelling. What do you think?
I agree with her. Like, if you're not clean, you're causing it.
We're going for the tenant or the landlord?
The landlord, because they have to keep the facility clean, and if they're not doing that, then the tenant can't keep it clean as well, and it'll continue to grow.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Do you have proof that you notified him of the sewage problem?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I want to see that. But go ahead. So the reason you stole the landlord's door.
I took it off because I was trying to get my own plumber in there to fix it. I had called.
Why would the plumber need to get into the basement to fix?
Because as far as everybody told me, I had already called the city plumber and they said that it wasn't the main sewage line. It had been something underneath the house.
All right. So now here's a text between you guys. Okay, fine. Building inspector's coming by on Monday. This is what you texted him on October 31st. I'll just share him the message. And I will leave when the courts issue an eviction. If I can't go to work, I'll lose my job, and you will be in the Supreme Court for intentional infliction of emotional distress. I don't have time for your pettiness. Anytime there was something wrong, you said you can't afford to fix it, then you don't need to be a landlord. The plumbing was fine. I refuse to fix it when you're living in my house for free. You're wrong about that part. I'm going to take you to court for any damages to my house, you say to her. How long had she not been paying rent by October 31st?
Last time she paid rent was August 25th.
And that was for August 1st?
September. That goes till September 25th.
September. So then you give her notice September 17th, and that's it. She stops paying rent. So she didn't pay October, and when did she finally leave?
December 15th.
So she didn't pay October, November, or December?
That's correct.
All right. Now, when she left in December, what propelled her to leave? Court?
U.S. Marshal came and locked her
The
out.
U.S. Marshal actually came? You pushed it that far?
I had to pay for that. We went to court, and she did not make an agreement to move. The judge gave her 33 more days to live there, and then gave me.
Why?
She came into the courtroom probably 7 months pregnant with a bed bug in a container and tried showing it to the judge, and the judge said she didn't want to see it.
If you knew that a judge had given you an additional 33 days, why couldn't you do what the judge asked?
The apartment wasn't ready until December 15th.
Well, get yourself ready. See, that's the problem, is that you think that your problem has to be not your problem.
No.
Sometimes your problem is your problem. It's not other people's problem to cope with because you have a problem.
Ma'am, I actually do have pictures too showing what the apartment looked like before she moved in, and
Let me see that.
The way it looked when she moved out.
Let me see that.
I never seen rugs so dirty in my life. My buddy's a carpet cleaner. He cleaned all the rugs before she moved in. They were spotless before she moved in.
Wow, this is a really good picture. This shows what was covered and how did you get this dirty?
Traffic.
How much traffic was there in that place? Wow.
I also have a receipt of what it cost to clean them when she moved too.
Now, you're suing for September, October, November, December in this, but I think you just mean 3 months. So I think that you mean October, November, December.
Yes, correct.
Right. And you're suing for $700 in legal fees. What's that?
That's what I paid the lawyer.
Prove it. Where is something that would be actual proof, like a lawyer's bill that you paid and proof you paid it?
Truth is, probably somewhere lost in my house.
Okay, then you understand. I mean, I'm happy to oblige if you can just prove it.
I just couldn't find it, that's
okay. All right, we're done. We're done. We are so done. Stick a fork in me, we're done. Let's see, Miss Eckert, let's first talk about your lawsuit against him. You want your security deposit back. That's not happening. You want him to pay $851 for a new couch because you had bed bugs. I don't see any proof in this case that he caused your bed bugs. You want $800 and something for your hospital bill and podiatry bills because you fell on steps that you never complained about until a year and a half later. That's not happening. You want, this one's my favorite though, $1,200 in lost wages because you didn't go to work how many days?
I didn't go for 2. The 3rd day is when I ended up getting arrested, which got dismissed in criminal court.
Wait, what'd you get arrested for? The door?
That was, when I took the door off.
You're kidding me, because the cops found the door in your place. So they arrested you. And what happened with that criminal case?
It got dismissed.
Okay, and the so the $1,200 is because you lost your job?
I lost my job because I didn't go to work for 3 days. The first 2 days is because I called off, and the 3rd day because I couldn't go because I had to spend the night in jail. You literally didn't go to work for 2 days because you couldn't take a shower? I tried. Like I said, nobody really wanted me to go over there because they knew the problem.
All right, you want him to pay for 2 beds. That's not happening. You want him to give you $1,000 in pain and suffering. I'm surprised you're not suing for pain and suffering. And you want him to pay for the exterminator costs. None of that is happening. On your counterclaim against her, you have 0 proof of the lawyer's fee. You're not getting that. You would have if you brought proof. And as for your lawsuit for the 3 months rent of October, November, December, I find sufficient proof of that, and I am awarding you $1,950. Pay the man. That's my verdict.
Well, she sued for stepping in feces and other things too, but didn't win the case. Step up here. What's your reaction to this outcome?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, I really didn't get to show her any evidence.
What do you do for a living that you couldn't go to work without taking a shower?
I work in an office building.
Right. It has the bed bug thing. Is that all cleared up now? That you still have that problem?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what's your reaction? You went on the countersuit here. Some of what you sued for, those 3 months of rent.
I'm glad that the judge seen who she was, and I'm glad it's over.
What have you learned about being a landlord here?
I learned to screen the tenants a little better.
Right. At least you took pictures before. Very good.
Yeah, that was my wife's idea. She's the
smart one. Harvey?
So here's the thing, Kurt. You have to prove a direct link between the landlord's duty and breaching that duty and damage that the tenant suffered. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.